So, the tale of the two factions of the African National Congress. Corruption stories keep continuing. Malpractices keep continuing. And today I have an article from Times Live titled Magashule's Associates Shisanyama Score Lucrative PPE Tenders Report. This is unbelievable. It's an article where, you see, there are many articles where you can read an article where it will say sources state that such and such member of parliament has confirmed that he or she knows about Peter or George, whomever, who has opened up a company of where that person is related to an ANC member, right? And that particular ANC member is benefiting from that tender. But boy, oh boy, this is like shoddy work. I mean, in defense of Ace Magashule. Unbelievable. Yeah. Defending him. I mean, I read the article twice, just trying to find out exactly what they're talking about. No names, nothing. Meanwhile, the more we read independent news publishing companies, the more they do a diligent investigative journalist work. So I'm juxtaposing this Times Live article with an independent online article, okay, that states Gordon's niece appointed Eskom Pension Fund trustee. It's dated 9th August. It's on IOL. You can read the whole thing yourself. You look at these two documents, there's a difference, okay? There's a difference. I think maybe nowadays the journalist, if the society has picked their sides in terms of your Ace Magashule faction as well as the Ramaphosa faction, if somebody comes up with a story about the faction that they do not like, they don't even interrogate the story. They'll quickly retweet the story and also talk about it as if it's a huge find when they're making an when they're making their point against the other faction that is being social media networks and so forth. I mean, I'm just going to read this and you tell me who are this associate of Magashule, okay, who owns a Shisanyama that has scored a lucrative PPE tender. I mean, nothing whatsoever. Let me read it quickly. Allies of ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule and unregistered local car wash and Shisanyama have landed lucrative personal protective equipment tenders in Free State, reports City Press. The publication reported on Sunday that it had seen a tender bulletin from last month listing the companies and their owners. One company owned by Magashule's longtime associates was awarded contracts for cloth masks, latex gloves, and shoe covers worth combined more than 7 million. The company said the tenders were acquired ethically. Another associate awarded a 900,000 contract for PPE said she secured the deal on merit and only enjoyed a professional relationship with Magashule. Business Live reported earlier in the week that the ANC National Executive Committee was outraged and deeply embarrassed about allegation level at some leaders, members, and their families. Two of Magashule's sons have been named as allegedly benefiting from tenders during the pandemic. Now, this is a divergent. So this article is taking an off ramp. Okay? So far, they have not named the Shisanyama businesses that has received the PPE tenders. All of a sudden, it talks about what we know now. We do know, according to various news publishing companies, that two of Ace Magashule's sons received tenders with regard to the communist virus to supply PPEs and so forth. Okay, so still it hasn't spoken about this Shisanyama people names or companies. Let's continue. The party statement came a day after President Cyril Ramaphosa likened those who sought to profit from a disaster to scavengers. City Press reported that a company that organizes an annual festival was listed as receiving 4.9 million. A local car wash in Shisanyama, not registered with the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, was awarded a tender for 4.3 million in the Free State. Head of department in the Provincial Treasury, Godfrey Matlatsi, told the publication that they would not respond to questions until investigation into COVID-19 procurement was completed. City Press said Magashule had this week given interviews indicating it was not wrong for family or relatives of ANC members and politically connected people to benefit from government business. End of the article. So here it's another off-ramp, right? Completely out of the topic, saying that now Magashule has said there's nothing wrong for family members or friends to get businesses. Okay, so now this story is trying to sort of cement a point about this Shisanyama car wash, mysterious people whom this article cannot even name, the alleged not registered with the so-called authorities, okay, with our government, the former CIPRO. They don't tell us the name of these companies. They don't tell us the individuals of these companies. They don't tell us how are they related to Ace Magashule. Okay, Ace Magashule is not a favorite of most people, but goodness me, when you write an article, just write an article like you're a news publishing company. I mean, this is like low grade article that I've ever read. You know, truth be said, that Mr. Magashule's sons got the PPEs business deals for this communist virus. Okay, so that's the faction side of it. And then you have another article here that state that the Minister of Public Enterprise niece is now got a little fresh deal here. She's been appointed as an ESCOM pension fund trustees. And on this article, it mentions two former journalists. I don't want to butcher their names. It has the ESCOM spokesperson, Sikonati Manchanja. He used to hammer ESCOM on a regular basis about the fraud, the misuse of funds at ESCOM, the each and every other day changing of CEOs and the board. Now he's the spokesperson of ESCOM. I guess he's getting a whole lot of money. You look at him, he speaks like a seasoned, typical ANC politician. And then we have another one. Minister Gordon spokesperson. Guess who? Sam Kokeli. In this article he says The ministry does not get involved in the internal ESCOM matters, he added. If you have any question or concern, please contact the company directly. This is in trying to answer the question as to why the niece of the Minister of Public Enterprise is appointed here to manage 146 billion ESCOM pension and provident fund. And this article states that she didn't come up out front to say that related to the Minister of the Public Enterprise. It was later on when they were having sort of a webinar and just stated that, hey, by the way, I am the niece of the Minister of Public Enterprise, Mr. Praveen Gordon. So it's amazing. And if you all can remember, Sam Kokeli was, I don't know if he still is, the chairperson of SANEF's Media Freedom Subcommittee. Okay? Remember the ANC conferences, the conference, he was manhandled, so to speak, when he was going to the conference. I suppose it was those times when the ANC was surgically trying to make sure that the other journalists who are not going to be going to the conferences. I remember a video where he was working with, what's that lady's name? Iman Rapeti. She was pleading for him not to be manhandled like the way he was manhandled, you know? And here we are. So this new administration, the CR17 administration, in a way, they hiring their former critics now to be their spokesperson, and you can't make this up. It's unbelievably smart. So this journalist, they had a nice profile. They had sort of a trust. They've built a trust with some of the avid readers of their articles and so forth, as people were criticizing the former administration in the previous government. But obviously it's the government of the same political party. Now it's under President Cyril Ramaphosa. Now they are the spokesperson of the new administration, defending the new administration after criticizing the old administration under President Jacob Zuma. Wow. And by the way, it really now, it's a bit disappointing to see that all this, so many commercial news publishing companies, I mean, most of them, unfortunately, they are the defender of the beloved president, Mr. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. You know, so you have few independent investigative journalists who are really digging in. They're not only focusing on the Magashule faction, but they're also going on to the faction which is beloved by the phoning media, journalists, and most of the editors. In fact, this morning, the Minister of Health, Zweli Mkhize, was being asked as the journalists, journalists were brave and doing their job, just trying to find out, when is our president going to just have a press conference with the journalists? I mean, if I were him, I would, not be bothered, because, 97% of the journalists love him. So it's going to be a pillow fight questions, really. They're not going to be throwing some hard baseball balls, or bowling some serious cricket balls, or throwing some serious heavyweight WBC boxing kind of questions. I mean, questions are going to be like, have you been getting some rest after you've been gallantly fighting this invisible disease called COVID-19? And, our president, then he'll be throwing his charms back at the beloved journalist, and there'll be few pesky journalists who just trying to find exactly what's going on in terms of the statistics that we've been having, the modeling that we've been having, the real reason why other businesses have been favored and over others, and why government is now being able to choose winners and losers. But still, it's nowhere to be found. He gives his speeches on TV, and then he walks off, and then he led all these other governmental departments to be able to handle it. So that's just been the modus operandi of the president. And as I was saying, the Minister of Health today, when they ask him, why is the president not answering questions, like, yeah, well, the president really doesn't have, I'm proud of the president with the job that he's been doing, and really there's not much that he really has to answer, because we as the other departments would then relate specifically to what the president will be saying when it comes to health matters, when it comes to tourism. The Department of Tourism will take care of that. When it comes to arts and culture, the Minister of Arts and Culture will speak about how the money will be flowing into artists and athletes and so forth. Really, our president, I don't think that he should be able to answer such questions, and he's busy working hard, blah, blah, blah. And that's just been the story throughout. So we'll see. We'll just be monitoring the news as time goes by. And I think this tact or this strategy that the government, the office of the presidency is using will not go any further, because if you monitor the social media, especially Twitter now, it has just been nothing but negative for President Ramaphosa. The hashtags are coming thick and thin on the regular. They are obviously ignored by the commercial television stations and the phoning commercial news publishing companies, but they're steady. Ramaphosa must go. Hashtags. ANC must ... the Afrikaans word for shooing away dogs. You know what it is? So it's mounting. It's mounting and it's mounting. So we'll see. That's just my take. You're watching the Mamuji Show. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. I'm outie.